My diabetic daughter called me crying. My wife said, I took away her insulin pump because she didn't do her chores. She can have it back after dinner. I replied, stay right there. Then I called 911 for child endangerment and rushed home with police. When she tried to tell the officers it was just parenting. My name is Marcus Johnson. I'm 38 years old, a small business owner in Atlanta, running a boutique security firm. I'm a man who's worked hard my entire life to provide for my family, to give my wife and daughter everything I never had growing up. I've always believed in fairness, love, and the sacred bond of trust in a family, but life has a way of testing even the strongest men, and my story is one of betrayal, heartbreak, and justice. It started on an ordinary Tuesday afternoon. I was at my office, reviewing contracts and making calls, when my phone buzzed incessantly. It was my daughter, Naomi, only 12, crying uncontrollably on the other end. Her voice was shaky, almost breaking with fear and pain. Daddy, please, please help me, she sobbed. I could hear her struggling to breathe through her sobs. I asked her what happened, and between hiccuped cries, she whispered, Mom, she took my insulin pump. She said I can have it back after dinner. My heart stopped. Naomi is diabetic. Her insulin pump is literally her lifeline. I felt a surge of panic and fury rush through my veins. I immediately demanded she stay on the line and keep herself safe. Without hesitation, I grabbed my keys, my coat, and called 911, explaining the situation as child endangerment. I told them my daughter's life was at risk because her mother had withheld her medical device as punishment. I drove home in a storm of anger, barely seeing the road, my mind racing with disbelief. How could the woman I trusted with my child's life, the woman I loved, do something so cruel? When I pulled into the driveway, I saw flashing lights, police cars were already outside, and officers were moving toward the house. Inside, my wife, Vanessa, was standing in the living room, her arms crossed, trying to appear calm, but the moment the officers arrived, she tried to brush it off. It's just parenting, she said, her voice tight, like she expected them to take her side. The officers were not amused. They asked me to explain, and as I detailed how she took Naomi's insulin pump to punish her for not doing chores, I could see the shock on their faces. This was beyond normal parenting. This was dangerous, reckless, and cruel. Naomi was in the kitchen, still trembling. I knelt beside her, holding her close, feeling her little body shake in my arms, whispering that everything was going to be okay. She looked at me with tears streaming down her face and said, Daddy, I was so scared, I thought I might die. That moment changed everything. I realized I could never trust Vanessa with Naomi's safety again. The officers asked me if I wanted to press charges. I hesitated for a second, looking at Vanessa's face, cold and defiant, and then nodded. I filed the report. The police confiscated her access to Naomi for the day and began an investigation into her behavior. My mind raced, but my heart was heavier. Betrayal isn't just about danger, it's about the person you love most choosing cruelty over care. Over the next few days, things escalated in ways I could never have imagined. Vanessa tried to gaslight me, sending texts saying I was overreacting, calling me paranoid, and trying to manipulate Naomi into believing this was all her father's fault. I ignored her attempts, focusing entirely on my daughter's safety and emotional healing. I enrolled her in counseling, made sure her insulin pump was never out of reach, and tightened every boundary I could to protect her. But the betrayal cut deeper than just that one act. I started noticing strange patterns, hidden withdrawals from our joint account, late-night phone calls she would hide when I entered the room, and subtle threats masked as jokes. The woman I married, who swore she loved me, was living a double life, and I knew I had to uncover the full truth. One evening, I followed my instincts. I stayed late at the office and waited for her to leave for one of her mysterious meetings. Using discreet security cameras I had installed years ago for protection, I tracked her movements. What I discovered made my blood boil. Vanessa had been secretly meeting someone at upscale hotels across the city, plotting to gain control over our home and finances, all while keeping up the illusion of a happy family. I confronted her that night. I didn't yell. I didn't cry. I just looked her dead in the eyes, holding Naomi close behind me. I told her everything I knew, every lie, every betrayal, every cruel act. Vanessa's face twisted in fury, and then fear. I told her she would never harm Naomi again. I told her the house, the bank accounts, and my trust were all gone to her. The woman who had tried to manipulate life and love for selfish gain realized she was finally powerless. But I didn't stop there. I knew she needed to face real consequences, the kind that leave a mark, the kind that make betrayal unforgettable. I worked with lawyers to ensure she would not have sole custody, that Naomi's safety was legally protected, and that Vanessa's ability to manipulate or threaten would be gone forever. Every asset, every secret, every plan she had was turned against her in the court of law. And when the judge ruled, I saw the relief in Naomi's eyes, the sense of safety returning to our home, and I knew justice had been served. The final twist came months later. Vanessa tried to contact Naomi, trying to charm her, but Naomi refused. My daughter, my brave little girl, had learned something I had learned the hard way. Love without respect is dangerous, and betrayal always comes with a price. Watching her grow stronger, healthier, and fearless, I realized that protecting her was more than a duty, it was a mission. And as for Vanessa, her manipulations crumbled completely, leaving her isolated, powerless, and a cautionary tale of what happens when cruelty meets the unwavering strength of a father's love. Now, every time I look at Naomi, I feel an overwhelming mix of relief, pride, and lingering rage. Life threw us into a storm, tested our bond, and tried to break us, but we survived. And those who think they can betray the ones you love most learn the hard way that justice, patience, and love are far more powerful than deceit, cruelty, or manipulation. Naomi sleeps peacefully now every night with her pump by her side, and I know she will grow up knowing that no matter what, her father will always fight for her, even if the world itself turns against us. Love, betrayal, revenge, and triumph, it's all a part of the life I vowed to protect for my little girl, and that promise is unbreakable. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me, what would you have done if you were in my place?